Hi, I am Life Coach Latricia Booker with Kingdom Business, where we are empowered, where we heal, we get delivered, and we get free. We know who we are. We elevate our minds and our spirits and raise and expand our consciousness to ultimately walk in our true divine purpose. That is the truth of who God created us to be. First of all, I want to thank you all for viewing my videos. Thank you to all those who subscribe to my channel. And thank you for all those who have donated to my channel. I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So, in today's video, I want to talk to you all about the devil who walks the earth seeking whom he may devour. Okay, so this is the thing, folks. You know, there's a thing where we are able to identify people who are devilish. We are able to identify low vibrational people and very low vibrational people who try to hurt, harm, destroy, cause harm to, like, try to hurt people, destroy people, just have not good intentions toward people, or just period. We deem them and see them as devilish, which they are. Now, I just want to point out that just because you're low vibrational don't mean you're devilish. You could just be operating in low vibrational energy. But it goes a step deeper or further when you are low vibrational and operating in demonic activity. In other words, where you're trying to harm somebody or use someone, or all those things that are not of God, where you have ill intent towards someone else. Okay, so the Bible tells us that the devil walks the earth like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So, what does that mean? That the devil walks the earth and he looks for people who are vulnerable to be devoured, or that can be devoured. You don't even have to be vulnerable, because he tries to devour people of God. He tries to devour people who are very strong in God. And let me tell you how that goes. So, the devil devours those who sell their souls to them, so to speak. Those who choose to go in his way, in his direction. Regardless of why that happens, when you make a choice to do the devilish thing over the God thing, the devil has devoured those people. Now, why people can be so easily devoured is a whole nother subject, because there's many reasons why people are devoured. Sometimes people were groomed that way. They were raised that way. So they really didn't have much of a choice in the matter. And what do I mean by that? I've seen where parents teach their children to be devilish. They groom them that way. They use them to do their dirty work. So their children become devilish because that's the way they were taught. That's the way they were groomed. So in that case, that's not a personal choice. Yet, even them can change their mind when they're older, when, they're on their own, if they ever get out of their own, on their own. Because sometimes when you're groomed in that way, it's hard to come from up under your groomer, so to speak. Anyhow, even then, if you really want to, you can turn it around and make a change. If you get a hold of any kind of Jesus or anything of God in that way, develop a relationship with God, know of him, seek him out and just do the work, you can overcome that. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. For those kind of situations, those people too can make a change. They can turn it around. Okay, going back to people who choose this way. It's a choice. Again, even if you chose that way and later in life you realize this is not the thing to do, but you continue to do it, it's a choice. Those people the devil have devoured. Now, again, scripture says the devil walks the earth seeking whom he may devour. So those who he has devoured, he will use to try to devour you or people of God, people who are choosing God, people who are saying no to the world and to the devil and his ways and choose to say yes to God. He is going to attempt to use the people he has already devoured to try, and I say try because many a times it don't work. He uses them to try to devour you. He has to use them to try to devour you. The devil works through people. He can work through things and situations, but his biggest thing is to work through people. And the only people he can work through are those he has already devoured, which means those who already belong to him, those who have already given themselves over to them. So, what am I saying here? We have to be careful and be able to see those people who are devoured by God, by the devil, not by God. Well, we need to see that too. Those who are devoured by God. Because if you're devoured by God, you're God's people, which means you're not operating in a satanic way. And that doesn't mean God's people don't have issues and things that they have to work through. We have a lot of work to do. But the difference is we're doing the work and we're not out here trying to devour someone else. So, the way till you can identify people and who they are, what path they're on, is if someone is, even if they're not trying to devour you per se, and you're aware of someone trying to devour someone else, has ill intent towards someone else, the devil has devoured them. They have given themselves over to the devil. And so you want to disassociate yourself from a person like that. Again, you may come across and know of people who have some issues, some things they need to work through. The difference is with those who the devil has devoured and people that just have some things going on that they're having to work through, is that they don't have ill and evil intent towards anyone. They're not trying to harm and destroy people and manipulate and control and use and get what they want out of people. Doesn't mean they don't have some areas where they may have been manipulative or controlling, or because again, that's a learned behavior. That's something that a lot of people, they were groomed that way. So that's the only way they know. But when they come into the realization that it's not God's way, those people make an attempt to change and stop doing that. Even if they have some relapses, it's okay because this is something that's embedded in them. Again, the key is, are they trying to destroy someone? Are they trying to devour someone? When you want to harm someone or you don't want to see someone do well or succeed at something, that's an indication that the devil has devoured you. And now you're trying to devour whoever it is you are looking at with ill intent or with the evil eye. And so, again, the devil uses those he has already devoured to try to devour you. So he uses those he already has to try to get you. And I say try, emphasize that, because those of us who are spiritually grounded and like really rooted in this thing and really have a deep, intimate connection with God, how can I say this right? People, they wasting their time. And the thing to this is what I've learned is this. When a person keeps coming against the child of God and continuously try to do whatever it is they're trying to do, that's wrong. That's devilish. And again, remember the devil is using them. Now, what happens is those of us who are really just in there for God and in there for who we are in God, we just in there. We sold out. We ain't no nothing. We'll say goodbye to anybody to keep rocking with God, and we don't care who you are. We ain't no people pleasers. We cool if you cool, but when you ain't right, we'll move around you. And again, we don't care who you are, and we don't care about what you say about us and what you thinking. And we don't care, because we care about what God says. We care about what God is moving us to do. We care about moving in our purpose. We don't care about what you're saying, and because you're not pleased and happy with us. We don't care about that. It's irrelevant to us. It doesn't make us feel no kind of way. Maybe at one point it did, but we overcome that. We have either overcome that, and some maybe are overcoming it. But when it's all said and done, we're going to do what God says, period. So I'm saying all that to say that people like that continuously make attempts at you to devour you because they're being devoured, when they continue to do that and keep going, even if it's underhanded, hidden, and I say that because some people think you don't see them, and you do, because God is showing you. But even in that, if they continue, what happens is this: because the devil is their master, because they serve him, because they operate in his ways willingly and knowingly, they have been devoured. What happens is, when you don't succeed at what you're trying to do against and towards the child of God, you're going to get it for that. Your master, the devil, or their master, the devil, is going to whoop them up, and they also have to deal with the wrath of God. So they get a double whammy. So I'm saying that all again to say, recognize those who have been devoured by the devil. Those who the devil already has are trying to devour you. And again, I mean, depending on where you are, you may be still growing, and we all still growing, but we're all at different places. So we're at different places in our journey. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter, because the devil is constantly walking this earth like a roaring lion, it says, seeking who he may devour. And it says like a roaring lion. So that means he's like, roar. He's hungry. He's adamant about this thing. And so because the devil is so adamant about this thing, we have to be adamant about what we doing. Because the devil is not playing. And we all know so many people are devoured. How do we know? Because we see so much evil in this world. It's ridiculous. And it ain't just in high places. It's in low places. It's in your home. It's across the street. We see this stuff on a regular basis. Even whether we deal with the people or not, they're around, and we know they have ill intent towards us. My point is, that's an indication that they have been devoured by the devil. And now the devil is using them, because he already devoured them, to devour you. He can only use someone he has devoured to attempt to devour you. He can't use a person of God who's obedient to God, who's, out to please God, to do what's pleasing to God. He can't use them like that. And again, I'm not saying it like we don't have things we have to work through. Sometimes we're in error and we be corrected and have to correct ourselves. But that's different. We're not trying to devour anyone. And when we're made aware of our error, we check ourselves. We're repentive. We ask for forgiveness. We forgive ourselves. And we keep it moving. But them that are devoured by the devil, none of that. None of that. And again, the devil can only use those he has devoured. How you gonna use someone? How can the devil use someone that only moves on God's command and is not about devilish stuff? How can he use them? The answer is he can't. Now, let me put this out here too. Just because a person claims to be of God, or just because a person goes to church, or say they're spiritual, or maybe even do some spiritual acts, or do things to seem good, because there's many people out here doing that, they can be devoured too. They can be devoured. It's a saying that go, the devil love to go to church. He live in churches. He loves to go in spirituality. He loves to go. He goes everywhere. He loves to be in the government. And you know how they say the government is evil across the board. Politicians are evil. It's not true. Is he sitting up in all those places? Yeah. He's in schools. But so is God. So is God. And the devil always going to try to go everywhere because he got to. The devil walks the earth like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So he going to show himself up everywhere because his job is to devour. Now let me go here. He goes after you because you are God's property. Yeah, he goes after you because you are God's property. That's why he comes after you so hard, because you belong to God. It's not hard for him to devour people that don't belong to God. Those who are easily, swayed or influenced, they don't belong to God. He has to work extra hard on God's people. Those who are truly God's people, sold out for God. I'm not saying some people don't love God and, just because they got some love, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying even if he uses you and you are somewhat devoured, a real person of God is going to come back around. They're going to catch themselves and be like, wait a minute, hold on. It's like they say, the backslider. Scripture talked about Jesus is always married to the backslider. That's because you can't stray away. You can't get off course, but you can always come back. So, the point is, when you come back, you belong to God. If you just stay out there and you gone, you have been devoured, and now you belong to the devil. You've been devoured by the devil. So, let me throw this at you. So, what happened to the devil? How he become the devil? He wanted to do his thing. He wanted to be God. He didn't want to do things God's way. He was being utterly disrespectful towards God. He was trying to go toe to toe and head to head with God. Yeah. And so what happened? God, like, wait a minute. You got to do things my way. It's an order to this thing. And the devil didn't want to oblige. So he got kicked out of heaven. Check this out. Those who have been devoured by the devil basically got kicked out of heaven. Okay, let me say this. They can always come back around. They could always ask God for forgiveness, and he will forgive them. And they have to go the right way, you know. But they're being kicked out. If you have let the devil devour you, you've been kicked out of heaven. Your destiny, unless you make a change, is now hell. So what has happened? Number one, the devil took those that he has devoured to hell with him. Okay. Pay attention to people, like I was saying, those who have been devoured, they have certain traits and characteristics. They're evil for the most part. They're jealous, they're controlling, they're manipulative, they're greedy, they want to be over you, have power over you, don't want you to succeed, all that, try to block you, all that. They're egotistical in an unhealthy way. Well, egotistical is unhealthy. Because we do have an ego, but we don't have to allow it to operate in an unhealthy way. But when you're egotistical and you're feeding it in that way, you're egotistical. And so that when you're egotistical, you're putting yourself above God. You're making yourself your own God. And ego means edging God out. So if you're edging him out, you're pushing him out, which means he's not there. He's not in you. When you're in your ego, God ain't there because you edged him out. So that's what the devil was doing. He got the big head. He wanted it his way. He wanted to be in control. He wanted to be God. Check this out. The people that the devil has devoured, aren't those the same characteristics that they possess? They want to control you. They want to manipulate you. They want to be your God. They want you to be under their control for whatever reason. And because most of the time, if you're not allowing that, they don't want to see you succeed. They want to stop you. They want to block you. Ain't that what the devil do? If he's seeking the earth like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, ain't he trying to stop you from the destiny that God has created for you? So the people that he has already devoured, they doing the same thing. He devoured them, and he uses them to to attempt to devour others. And many times it works. But yeah, even if someone is wishing you ill will, like let's say you in a relationship with somebody, or you friends with somebody, and that's what is going on there. They don't want to see you succeed. They wish you ill. They don't look. They jealous of you. Just all the kind of craziness we know going on up in these spiritual streets and up in this world, in this physical world, in this earth realm. It's happening. So the thing is, they don't, even if you're in relationship with them and this is what's happening, if you feed into it and go with it, you kind of letting them devour you. But if you see it, peep it, and get away from it, distance yourself from it, they're not devouring you. Will they be mad and still try to block and do? Yeah, to the extent that they can. But so, that's what they do. They have been devoured. So they want to devour you. That's how it works. It's like a domino effect. The devil, it's like tag. He tags somebody. Devour them. And then that person who's being devoured, they go tag somebody else. Devour them. That's how this go. That's how it's set up. So, be mindful of that. And the devil that walks the earth, seeking whom he may devour. And be mindful of someone that's operating in a devilish energy. And when I say devilish, I don't mean they just have issues that they need to resolve, but they're trying to cause you harm. And they wishing ill will on you and don't want to see you succeed. Anybody that has any of that going on, they have been devoured. And you want to refrain from being in their presence, in their life, and if you just happen to have to deal with them, or if God sets you up in a way where you deal with them in some kind of way, he leads you and guides you, and he has a purpose in that. But yet you still stay aware of what they are and what has happened to them. They have been devoured. So they have been devoured. Be careful to not let them / their devil devour you. Take note, take note, take note, take note. Do not be devoured by the devil, who walks the earth like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. I'm going to leave that right there. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Please click on that red subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. Please also click on that bell right next to that red subscribe button so that you can get a notification every time I upload a new video. You can also connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at Latricia Booker, and on Twitter at Kingdom Business 9. That is Kingdom Business with one S and the number 9. You can also connect with me on Likey at One Dr. Booker. That is the number 1 Dr. Booker. That is my time, guys. So you know what that means. I'm out. She out. We out. Peace.